Hello there, welcome. So yeah, I posted a video on Reddit of the stone miner in survival. I was requested to do a tutorial, so um, I thought I'd just go over how I sort of come about and some of the parts, and we'll actually look at it at the end, and then I'll do a follow up actual build tutorial. So hopefully this just gives you a little bit more of an idea. So yeah, so I based it off of this design, which was like a combine harvester type uh, build. Um, so the idea was harvesting, the front was planting. It's got a couple of set speeds on it, one for normal driving, one for just planting a bit slower. Yeah, and I sort of like the sort of the design of it, so I went from there really. So I got into creative. This was sort of the concept of it. Yeah, just a few refiners on the back, the chest. I actually went for rear wheel steering. Tried that. Quite liked how it performed, so I kept it. I did change this a bit. So the idea is this centre bar rotates as well as the drills. It was okay. Didn't I wasn't. Yeah, it was a bit. Mm, so I decided against it. And when I actually went to build the proper one, I got rid of that totally. So yeah, the duck's probably the best thing on this one. So yeah, so that was the basic concept. So these are the parts that I chose to go for overall. So in survival, so I just used the normal wood one. If you're looking for a bit more durability but the lightweight, I'd go for wood 3, but I just preferred the wood 1. I've stuck with that. The net block I used just for a bit of like guarding, shielding over the drills and stuff, because some of the stone usually sort of flicks out, so just stop that. I went for, you could see them other designs, they're just one just single wheel on the front. I actually went for double on the front with the main one. So yeah, 6 wheels. Uh, some pipe pieces. I actually did start using this one. You can get away with the smaller one, but I think I don't know. I've never really used that one a lot. So they're the outside of warehouses. You can find them. So yeah, so I use them ones. Uh, I use suspension on it. So it's 4 for the main wheels, and then 4 to put the drills on. The main drills, and then there's 4 that are static. Again, I'll show the actual design after this. These are just the parts. Pistons, I would say, I think I'm only on about 11, which I think is level 2 or 3. So you can get away with it. You could probably get away with level 1. I think it's up to 7. But again, if you can upgrade it, then yeah, go all the way. And obviously then you get the speed as well. 6 bearings. To begin with, I did use a gas engine, but it was a bit, yeah, it sort of slipped, and it didn't have like the torque. So in the end, yeah, I did put an electric engine on it. I upgrade it to level 5 as soon as you can, just so it's a bit more efficient on the batteries. The battery container, and then for the actual work, the actual spinning of the drills, I use a level 5 controller. I know gas is a lot easier to get hold of now, if you wanted to use like an engine with it, but I prefer the level 5 controller. So yeah, so I'd recommend that. Uh, with that, you need level 5, and then you need fast speed, and then the drills will be they'll mine the rock with that. That's fine. Again, I'll show all the settings and everything I used on the actual build, but I'll just go through the parts. A couple of switches. The other controllers, I think you need at least a level 3 or 4, because there's a couple of bearings at each. I like the saddle seat for these types of builds, because I go for the centre seat, and these are good because they're 3 blocks, so you've got the nice centre bit in there. Get it to level 5 as soon as you can. because then you get the oh yeah, sorry, yes, you get the bearing, so you get the bearing settings, so you can change that. But again, I'll go through all that. A duck, very important. The duck, as you all know. Definitely a beacon. I'll say I've made it with all these parts, so there's room for a beacon on there. I definitely recommend putting one on there because you never know. 2 pipe pieces, a big chest, 2 refiners, and then 2 resource collectors. Yeah, and that's most of the parts. So this is the design over here. So as you see, I've gone for the front. This is where we use the pipe pieces. Pistons at the moment are level 3, yeah, so 11. But you can get away with level 1. But again, as soon as you get some component kits, upgrade it as soon as you can. But I haven't upgraded it further than that. I find that's more than enough. The 4 static drills on the bottom. I found quite a lot of times that the stone would go under it. I was thinking of trying to make like a bar that came down. But in the end I thought, well, I might as well just put more drills there really. And it seems to work quite good. And I think the nice thing is now is when the pistons extend, a few rocks get caught in there. As you bring it back, it drags it onto these drills. So yeah, I think it's pretty good. Makes quite makes it quite effective really. The double wheels at the front. Yeah, I suppose it's probably just design choice really. I think I just like the look of it. It looks quite nice and bulky. Nice place for the engine, I think. Nice to get to. It's usually the speed I go at, which I find quite good. You could probably go a bit. I mean, I mainly for like travelling. I usually just leave it at it to be honest, but you can reduce it when you're actually doing the mining. Don't need to be that fast. Suspension, I have these. I have the front level 3, I think. Again, it doesn't really matter, so it's just one off the limit of a level 3. Again, you can do exactly the same if you wish, or you do it to what you think suits you, but I find that quite good. For the back, they're just level 1 suspension. Again, they're not much. It's just to give it just a little bit of oh, that was a bit odd there. Yeah, it just gives it just a little bit of leeway, I suppose. That's not completely rigid. I find this sort of solid axle, I found that sometimes the suspension sort of glitches out and it sort of bends and the wheel flips round, and so yeah, in the end I added this sort of a solid axle. I find it helps a little bit better, makes it a bit more rigid, and I've had to just a little bit of a gap there just so the suspension can still move around. Again, with the wood, I don't mind. I prefer the wood one, and I think I built it as that, so I didn't really want to rip it apart to change it. So if you're worried about bots and stuff approaching you, the front's obviously quite covered because they don't like the drills, and then I just found that just putting a couple of saws on it, yeah, it just sort of keeps them away. Just gives you a little bit of time so you can just hop out, get rid of them. And actually, I did. You could do a little swap over to actually make this a tree harvester as well. So yeah, I'll show that in the build tutorial. How to use the saws, just a little setup. So you got the refiners at the back here and the chest. Yeah, so they're the glass tubes. Quite tight together. Obviously the beacon just sits on the back there. This was just my personal. I've got a few trailers, and a few times I needed to haul a trailer with other stuff, so I put a little hitch there. Again, it's not needed. It's entirely up to you if you have that sort of thing going on, trailers and whatnot. The rear steering. So they're at 70 degrees. I find that quite good. I've just sort of reduced the speed a bit. It was a little bit jerky, so I've turned it down to a 3, and that's on exactly the same each side, 70-degree turning and a 3-speed. Find that pretty good. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it really. So I'll just show a couple of the functions. Obviously the duck, very important, duck there on the front, keeping a watch. So I've got the drills connected, they're all connected to a level 5 controller. The little beacon lights up here, again they're just, the bearings just connected to the controller, and the light actually to the switch. Yeah, they're pretty simple, but I quite like the effect. Then you've got number 2, which just lowers the drills for a bit. Again, I'll show all the degrees and all that detail in the actual build tutorial. Then you got 3, which extends the pistons, and then I've got one more function which I find can get you out of trouble quite a bit and found quite useful. So number 4 just goes down just a little bit more, and I find it helps for, as you all know, all the stones always up big mountains, and so it just helps as you're going uphill. It just, you know, it can still get those awkward bits, and yeah, I find it's quite good. So that's what that's for. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's the functions and the parts and sort of the concept. So I'll follow up. Oh, there's, yeah, just a bit of the netting. Again, I just found as you like drag stones in, they sometimes flick up, so I just sort of stopped it. Yeah, so a build tutorial to follow. I hope this was informative, and yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks for joining me. See you later.